Hi beloveds, I have another video for you today about allowing people to have the experiences that they need for their growth. I feel like we have a tendency of judging other people's actions and their experiences, and in the judging we make someone wrong. And the truth is there's no such thing as right and wrong, and that all experiences are perfect for the learning and development of each person. And those who are on a spiritual path, they have a choice. They can choose to see the divinity in all experiences and all people's choices that they're making is part of growth and transformation and development. And from my personal experience is that I needed to explore the darkness, and I needed to go deep into the darkest parts of my soul so that I could really acknowledge the preciousness of the suffering I've experienced and the traumas that I chose to experience on a soul level. And through the acknowledgement of the suffering or the darkness in my life, it allowed me to develop deep compassion for myself. And then as I had that deep compassion for myself, I was able to project that in the world and allow for others to go into the darkness too if they so choose. Archangel Michael, at the time when I was really going through a lot of suffering and a lot of pain, shared with me a beautiful image that I'd like to share with you. And he shared with me about how that the divine loves us so much and adores us so much and wants to assist us as much as possible. That the divine created duality so that we could experience ourselves in new and different ways. And I'm going to use some terms that only partially explain the truth of the vision, because as a vision it has an energetic resonance to it. And so I'm trying to use vocabulary for something that doesn't necessarily have vocabulary, but bear with me because it's hard to translate the vision and the body feeling that I have with this experience. So he shared with me that if we were to call the divine, so everything that's light and everything that's good, and then as humans we also create the darkness, which we call as bad or evil. And I'm going to use Hades from the Greek mythology that kind of represents like the underworld and darkness as what the opposite of the divine would be. And that the divine loves us so much that in our humanness, sometimes we're really terrified of the light. And for me personally, it was, I felt abandoned by the divine at an early age. And so when the light came towards me, it was terrifying for me. And so I ran away, and I felt more comfortable in the darker aspects. And so in my vision, the divine showed me how much I'm loved and how much I'm supported, and that the divine loved me so much that I was allowed to run away. And because the divine understood that I needed something different than light and goodness, Hades was created to comfort me and guard me and be my companion until I had run myself to exhaustion. And as I lay there, limp on the ground, unable to run away, unable to fight, and I had to surrender, it was Hades that wrapped me sweetly up in his cloak and brought me back to the divine. And I was then shown that Hades and the divine are one. And so there's nothing to be afraid of, because no matter what it seems like on a three-dimensional level, we're always loved and supported, and we're always being helped in some way on our journey. And it's us as a human that has expectations of what that help looks like, or what that support should be like, or we have these ideas that aren't in line with the way the divine wants to help us, because the divine can see things from a different perspective than us, a higher perspective than us. And so sometimes when things happen in our lives and we think like, oh, this is misfortunate, I got fired from a job, sometimes it's exactly what we needed in our learning. And to trust in that, and trust that everything's happening exactly as it's supposed to happen. And there are no mistakes, and there's no way that you could come off path, because all paths lead back to the divine. And it's up for us to choose the experiences that we want to have for our learning and growth. And so when we can come from that perspective, then anybody out in the world is doing the exact same thing. They're learning and they're growing. And someone might make choices that aren't a choice that I would make, but I can have compassion because I know that whatever that is for their highest good, and that they're making the decisions that are going to lead them to discover exactly what they wanted to learn in this life. And we can love them for having the courage to explore and make decisions, and that kind of takes the onus off of us. So I do want to talk about an experience where I had to really put this in practice, and it's not easy. It's it's one thing to have a mental understanding of a concept, but it's a completely different thing to embody it and live it. And those who have chosen to be advanced spiritual beings, that's what they're doing. That they are taking these concepts and embodying them and practicing them. And so I do classes at a senior center, and it's something that is one of my greatest joys. I love doing it. I love giving back. And I had put flyers up around the senior center in hopes to get different clients. And one of the seniors had wrote a really harsh message on the flyers about that I was a fraud, and that there's no way that I knew how to communicate with spirit, and it went on and on. And one of the students of my class took it down, was really upset, and came to me. And immediately I knew that it was really important for us to put the flyer back, that this person had been touched deeply by my light, and that this person was really afraid and fighting And I could have compassion for that. And I want him to have the experience. I want him to have this experience where he got to speak his truth and someone allowed him to say the things that he needed to say and honor that this was his experience, that for whatever, I don't know what his background is, but for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to trust spirit. And I knew that through my honoring and allowing for him to have whatever experiences that he needed, that hopefully that would plant a seed with him. And maybe one day he'll be able to think, and maybe one day he'll be able to trust that spirit is available and healing's available and there's beauty and goodness in the world, and it doesn't have to always be about suffering. And he's allowed to have these experiences, and it's so important for us to allow those around us to have whatever experiences that they are needing to have. It's not our job to fix them or change them or make them have our point of view. They're allowed to have whatever point of view that they are wanting to have. So that's my message today, and I hope that it reaches you and you resonate with it. And I send you lots of love and blessings today, and hope that you can find the beauty and love in all your experiences today. Thank you.